We're starting the new year with clarity because the landscape has changed, and pretending otherwise only helps traffickers and the systems that enable them. January is National Human Trafficking Awareness and Prevention Month. Joining us today is Jan Edwards, founder and president of Paving the Way Foundation, an organization working in Florida and across our great country at the intersection of trafficking, technology, and real world exploitation. What Jan sees on the ground tells us something very important. Trafficking is no longer confined to dark corners. It is digital, it is organized, and it's happening faster than our laws and safeguards and any of us can keep up with. So as we move into this year, this new year, the question is no longer whether awareness is enough. It's whether we are willing to confront new online platforms and how they're working, digital grooming, and systemic blind spots. I want to capitalize that, everybody, even though you're listening to me, blind spots that are keeping us from safeguarding our kids and for really getting ahead in all of this. Full disclosure, I just want to say it, Jan Edwards is a dear friend, a trusted colleague, and she is a true warrior in the state of Florida and again on the national level. So this is a conversation about where we are, what has changed, and what must happen next if we are serious about protecting our most vulnerable, our children and all young people in 2026. So the website is pavingthewayfoundation.org. Jan's very active on LinkedIn. We have so much to discuss, so let's get to it. Welcome, Jan Edwards, back to the Warriors.
Thank you, Lynn. I'm so excited I get to start my year with you. I can't think of a better place to start this conversation and really the kicking off of Human Trafficking Awareness and Prevention Month.
Well, thank you, but back at you. Thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely.
Jan, I want to start with something. I think January 2025 marked a year ago, marked a turning point. It seems like the whole last year was very different in the trafficking landscape and how everything was operating and funding. Just the shift was not subtle. It was in our faces, very loud. Yes. And I think trafficking became much faster, much more digital, and more normalized. And recruiters are moving along almost entirely online, using gaming platforms, social media, messaging apps now, all the direct, DMs, direct messaging, and AI sort of came to the forefront. Yes. And all of their tools to, identify, groom, and isolate kids even more without any physical contact. I want to point that out. It's not in real time. This is all, any of these things in real time would be crimes, most of them. Yes, but somehow online, they just seem to flourish. So the line between online harm and real world exploitation effectively, I'm going to say again, blurred together and entirely disappeared, sort of. So 100. Jan, all of my questions are, because I could talk to you for days on end about everything. Yeah. We're going to start with, from what you see on the ground, right? Talking to kids, talking to parents, talking to community members. What's the biggest way you think trafficking has evolved in the last year?
Well, we knew it was happening online, we knew that. But the fact that the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children put out a blog over the summer that just in the first 6 months, AI-generated child sexual abuse material, CSAM, was up 9,238%. 9,000%.
I mean, I'm speechless, and I'm usually never speechless. And
yes, yeah. So it's now gone from getting to know you and having you send me pictures. Now I'm hunting. If I'm a predator, they're hunting for children who are already uploading pictures, taking that picture, downloading it, putting it on an AI-generated body, and doing one of three things. One, they're sending that picture to the child going, I have a picture of you in this compromising position. I'm going to send it out to all of your social platforms. If you don't, A, send me money, or B, send me more pictures.
So sextortion, you're talking.
Yes, 100% sextortion. Two, they're not even telling the child and uploading it onto websites like Pornhub. There's over 1 million porn websites, okay? Most of which have no curator, that have no business. They just upload, people pay money, and someone makes money. So you have no idea where this is sitting on the web.
And you don't even know maybe it happened, right, Jan?
Exactly. And then the third is, really the art of blackmail. Beyond sextortion it's sending it already out, like already doing that. So they're already harming the child. And that, look, your brain, your prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed until you're between 25 and 30. And you're a 14-year-old child being impacted by some stranger threatening you, right? So it leaves children scarred. It leaves parents very confused because they don't understand how this is happening to their child, because we didn't have that phone thing. And criminals are profiting off of this. And one of the things, you remember for the Christmas break, all these people were doing these AI generated photos in rather provocative positions.
Yes.
You saw some of those, and I did a post about it. I'm like, okay, y'all, stop doing that. Right. And they're like, well, they can take any photo. Of course they can take any photo, but you're sitting in a provocative position with your face on it. All they need to do is download that picture, use one of the 249 nudifying apps, and you're already in a position. You're already sitting in a provocative position. They don't need to do anything else but remove your clothing.
But Jan, why are they doing this? I'm not kidding. Like, why do people do this?
Why is who doing this? The AI generated pictures?
I mean, why
or
are people?
Or why people are downloading pictures and nudifying them and then blackmailing people? What are you trying to answer?
Well, I'm trying to answer both. I'm jumping in sort of with these kind of rhetorical things. Like, I know some people, they tried, oh, let me see what I look like.
Mm-hmm.
And those, why would anybody even try that when we have all of this attention and we're talking about an education and, don't do this. And we know why the other side is doing it, because it's always profit over people.
Always.
But I don't understand.
Well, if you look at our environment, it's about what you look like. And as people age, they don't want to age. They don't want to look a particular way, because you're either attractive or you're invisible. We learn that over time. Okay. And so people wonder why they do plastic surgery and do an AI picture and all of that, because people want to stay relevant, because we're being judged by what we look like. It's the reason why, look, you and I both have lipstick on, we have makeup on, we have our snappy glasses on, because we'll be judged if we look different. That's just how the world goes. It's not good. And it's what's so we have to live within that. And then if there's an opportunity for me to make a pretty picture of myself, why not? Heck with the consequences. I'm an adult. They can't find me. I'm not important. And what people are missing is predators are hunting all the time for pictures.
Yeah.
All the time. They've got, just like content creators have to create new content, so do these people.
So let me ask you, Jan. So how early right now? Because I really think there's been such a tremendous switch the whole year, like 2025. I feel like everything shifted, changed, like right in front of us. Okay. How quickly now do you think, or traffickers are reaching kids? And we know a lot of this, people don't report things, kids don't report things or tell us. So whatever numbers we talk about, I always say they're higher because we don't get true, figures on everything. But what are the digital spaces right now that parents are underestimating?
Yeah.
I mean, is it everything?
Well, we're going to set AI chatbots off to the side.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a whole different conversation. But so we were at the Coalition for the Homeless yesterday training their kiddos. And we have a slide that's got, all the apps that are age appropriate. So, you've got Twitch, you've got Roblox, you've got Fortnite, you've got Snap, you've got, all of those normal ones. But we also have up there Amazon Smile. We also have Google Docs. We also have VR chat and GTA, look, Grand Theft Auto. You get points to sexually assault somebody in that video game.
What?
You get points. You get points by murdering someone.
And what is the age for that game? What is the age on the game?
Well, just like all the rest of the games.
I don't know. Are they like 12? Everything seems to be like 12 plus 13. 12 plus. And then there's all this sexual content. That's a whole other problem.
And
the ratings.
And in particular, everybody knows this because everybody's talking about it. Roblox is probably the most dangerous place you can put your kid. Most dangerous place they can.
Okay, I talk about Roblox. We've all been talking about it, but I would notice, Jan, every time during the holidays, I went in a store, those gift card racks, and then I started looking on purpose. It started out one day, like I was looking at cards, and then the Roblox was empty where the gift card should be. So
Mhm.
then I was at another place checking out, and it was out at the counter. It was empty.
Yeah.
That spot for Minecraft, Roblox.
Mhm.
And then I started looking, and every time, I'm not kidding, anywhere I went, Roblox, the gaming, the gift cards were always gone. I know it's an easy gift,
Yes.
everybody, to buy, but we have to sound the alarm on this
We
even
do.
more.
We do. And parents don't, and that's the thing. Parents not only don't understand, and God love them, they don't have the space or capacity to fully understand. And
Yes.
and when we have legislators talking about, well, that's the parents' job.
No.
Yes and no. And what I mean by yes is our parents have to be somewhat educated enough to understand the moment I put this in my child's hands, I'm not only giving them access to the world, I'm giving the world access to them. And there's got to come some ground rules, or there's got to come some boundaries, some guardrails that we put up. It's just like when we drive, you got to put your seatbelt on, right? You've got to learn how to use the signals. There's a methodology for learning how to drive. Well, we don't do that with these devices and these gaming platforms. We just hand it to them with no parameters and say, good luck, we're all counting on you. Because one, as a parent, I'm tired. I am tired, right? When I get home from an 8 to 10 hour day, I'm pooped. I need a little me time. And so having that 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes of nothing, it's important for a parent, but you got to be cognitive of where you're sending your child. I think that's the first thing. And the second thing is it's what all the kids are doing. So if I'm not doing it, I'm an outcast. If I'm not doing it, I don't fit in. And we know our children are dying, literally, to fit in. You know, if you see all these new, especially on Instagram, all these new diets where you've got these girls, they look like skeletons. And so you have all these girls trying these new diets to look like that because that's the in thing. Remember when the big booties were in, all the girls were doing whatever they could. They were getting booty implants. Just like,
I don't mean to
okay.
laugh, but I was always trying to downsize the booty
Well, yeah.
in our
So
day, you know.
yes, yes. So, you know, there's this media cycle
Yes.
that how can we manipulate this group of individuals today? How can we sell more diet pills? How can we sell more drugs? How can we sell more exercise programs? How can we sell more smart waters? How can we sell more death waters? You know, all of that. It's all about media and marketing. And because we're so immune to it, we just go along. And I mean, we
Yeah.
as a global collective, clearly you and I will never buy death water.
No, well, you're a
Ever.
disruptor. You're a disruptor. We're not
Yes.
buying. Yeah.
And
But
and standing out DNA wise puts a person in danger. If you remember way back in the day when we were tribal, when you were ostracized from the tribe, that meant literal death. You needed the tribe to survive. That DNA still lives in all of us. So being
yeah.
ostracized is equals in a child's brain death. It equals death to them. So why bother? You know, and it's and that's the piece of and then you've got the divisiveness of the current environment. If you're not this, then I hate you. If you're that, I hate you. If you're not for this or against it, it's and all of these narratives are forced upon us, and then our children are in this lost space of going, I don't know what to believe. You know, I see my mom believes X, my dad believes Y. I'm not sure if I believe either. But if I don't side with one of them, then I'm going to be ostracized. Like you can see the whole trail of
Yeah.
where it's going. And to be able to talk to kids and invite them to do the thinking. I remember many years ago, I was in Washington, D.C. with my daughter's 8th grade trip. And we were at the Holocaust Museum, and I was in charge of about 8 teenagers. And we got to the part, if you haven't been to the Holocaust Museum in your city, I highly recommend. But in DC, they've got an entire propaganda wall, and it's called that. And we walked through it once. And then I said, okay, we're going to go back and we're going to walk through it again. I said, I want you to look at the headlines and see how the headlines altered the narrative of the belief about a group of people. And so at the end of that, I'm like, and so we had a conversation about doing your own thinking, doing your own research, not believing what everyone is saying. And as uncomfortable as it is to go the opposite direction of the narrative, you've got to go where this tells you to go. And I get fitting in is important. However, you've got to do your own thinking to determine, is that worth it? Is it worth it for me to fit in?
That's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly and we'll talk about, AI now and
Mm-hmm.
everything that's going on. But I want to ask you a question about Florida, your home
Sure.
state right
Yeah.
now. I always think of Florida. Well, I was just reading something. I don't know if it's true. Just this morning, it said
Yeah.
Florida's number 3 in human trafficking in the
Mhm.
country. But who could keep up? I think like all the states pretty much are like, with this. But I think every
it's the
state's a
number
number
of
3.
calls. Well, no, it's the number of calls.
I
That's
know,
how it's
but
judged.
it said number 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's by the number of calls. And when we go out and we train people, I tell them there's the front side of the hand, the back side of the hand to that conversation. The front side of the hand is, yes, people are picking up the phone and calling. Okay. The back side of the hand is more people are being educated about what is happening so they know to pick up the phone to call. It's the same thing with DCF, right? We had over, I think, 2,300 calls last year for child extortion. Okay. So that, again, because we're educating more people know to pick up the phone and make the call, right? So it's front side of the hand, back side of the hand. The front side of the hand is, yes, this is actually happening. Okay. But now you know what it looks like. So do something about it. And that's really, you and I are in the same space. You and I are in the same space. Take an action.
Oh
Do
my goodness.
something.
Well, Jan, even though we're talking now, I mean, I've said to you privately, I'll say it online. I'm tired of conferences, summits, roundtables, discussion. It is overdue for taking action, plugging in those holes. We have good people doing good work.
We do.
We have ethical tech people that could, want to work on things. Like we have solutions, right?
We do.
But I always also think of Florida as I don't think of them. I see it doing great work in the state of Florida with traffic. Like I see you as like at the forefront. I see so many good things coming out of Florida. Share with us a couple of these things. What's happening there?
So, well, I would say one of the things that I'm speaking solely from Jan's opinion. Other people might disagree, and that's okay. They're a free world. Do your own thinking. Is we're inclusive. And what I mean by that is the people in the anti-trafficking space, we talk to each other. Now, not everybody may like each other, okay? But we get over that. It's like, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. However, they actually know what I do. They know my heart is true and pure, and they know I'm authentic. So they may not like my methodology of being authentic. I'm okay with that. They also respect what we do, and they recognize it, and they support it. Okay. There's other people that are only out for themselves, and I got no business with you being in my sandbox because that's not the game I'm playing. We got lives at stake.
Yeah.
We got lives at stake. If we don't work together, guess who's going to win? The predators and the traffickers. And I'm not okay with that. I'm more concerned about the individuals than my face being on some poster or, some 30-second video or, telling everybody what we're doing. That's not who I am. You'll see my team doing stuff, but you rarely see pictures of me. And that's intentional. It's not about me. Yep. This is our organization. Yep. I founded this. Yep. I'm the president. Got it. Doesn't mean I'm always going to be out in the front. I've got an incredible team of people that do great work, save children's lives, right? So I will say, for the most part, we're all very collaborative. We know who does what. We know who does what well. And so when I get a call from a parent that's like, Jan, I just found some material on my kid's phone. I don't know what to do. I'm in a panic. I tell them all the things that there are to do. And then I also invite them to either call One More Child or Flight Center. Both organizations work in the state of Florida. And I give them the choice. I'm like, here's the 2 numbers. You call and figure out which one works better for you, because they've got mobile units that will come talk to the child and with the child and stand next to that child that's been abused. We're so blessed that we have both those organizations in our state. We've got organizations that work with adult survivors. You've got United Abolitionists. You've got, Connie Rose, Victims to Survivors, ANEW, our friend Kim. We've got great organizations here. I'm real clear about my lane. I pierce the veil. I educate children and families. And when someone discloses, I deploy them to the people that are working alongside us to work with survivors. That's in my
That's the way it should
opinion,
be done.
one of the best ways to accomplish this,
Right.
right? And I think that's one of the reasons is we all stand collective underneath the children matter, families matter, survivors matter, law enforcement matters, right? Justice matters. And so we want to make sure that justice is served. So you've got to have laws to do that. You've got to have conversations with law enforcement and prosecutors to make sure they understand the laws that are passed and what they can use to actually have justice be served, to stand along and walk beside survivors to make sure they know they're supported and there's opportunities for them outside of, just being a survivor, right? You've got a whole life. That's something that you experience, but there's way more to you than just that. And then for our children and families to understand they're not alone in this, that, if you can turn off your location settings on every single app, except of course Life 360 or I Find My Eye, and turn on your privacy settings, those two simple things can save lives. This isn't brain surgery. It's actually pretty simple. While not as exciting as knocking down doors and recovering people, right? Rescuing people is what they like to say. Rescue, recover, you choose your adjective. But it's what we do is altering generation. And people know that.
Interesting. I'm going to say amen, sister. I like everything you just said.
Thanks.
Let's talk about, we got to get into AI. I'm always at the edge of my seat with AI, artificial intelligence. It's been hard, right? We just talked a little bit about, we have seatbelts, we had the bicycle helmets where I think parents went crazy over, insisting upon all of that. And
we have ratings for TV shows and movies. Why don't we have that for?
But why isn't everybody going crazy? Like, again, we're not judging. We are here, Paving the Way Foundation, Lynn's Warriors, to provide information and education and give you tools. Like you just gave two, I'm digressing here, but you just gave two very important, simple tips, location sharing, and like everybody can do that. And that will lead to a lot of safety.
Absolutely.
Like, just, what you're mentioning. So I don't understand, and I know I ask it every day, like 50 times to myself too, like the disconnect of, a child has to wear a seatbelt. You have to wear your bicycle helmet. Okay. But you can't play in the backyard without somebody, sitting next to you, or we just don't play in the backyard anymore at all.
Right. Or, well, you can't go, you've got to have an adult around if you're near a swimming pool.
Well, exactly. So I don't understand
those
the
are
device.
Obvious things. Well, and it's a question I ask myself too. But again, I think there's some, first of all, we're still dealing with compassion fatigue. We are. People are tired. And I am going to keep going back to this because people don't, I think, really want to think about nor be with the impact that COVID and the shutdown had on society. I really don't. It's like, we're over, it's done, I want to put that away. No, it's not done. Our world was altered for a period of time, right? And just as we're coming out of that, you have October 7th. Horrific. And just as we're coming out of that, the Ukraine and Russian war gets worse, right? And then you've got Cambodia and Taiwan. And then you've got, so all these threats of pretty big global issues happening. And you want me to manage this? I don't see how it's important. Again, there's no blaming. I have deep compassion for what humanity's dealing with, okay? And then, you put all the other stuff that's happening out in the world.
Right.
It's a lot for parents to take in. It's overwhelming, and we have compassion fatigue. We're exhausted. My team was off for 2 weeks. And I think most of them turned their phone off because they didn't want to hear from me. And I pretty much did my best to respect not bothering them unless I needed them.
Well,
which wasn't a lot because we didn't have a whole lot to do, but they needed the rest.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
We're in this and we understand it. There's that thing called secondary trauma. We see what our kiddos are dealing with. We're in Title I schools. You can see it on their faces. They're so, I was at the Homeless Coalition for 2 weeks in a row. Little kid there, we were there for 90 minutes and I'm getting hugs.
How old are the kids? Are they all ages where you were?
Yeah, they were like 7 to 14.
Okay, so perfect age for all.
Mhm.
Do these children have devices?
Some of them did, some of them did not. And we were applauding the ones that didn't. We're like, thank your parents.
Okay, now that you brought that up, give us a little more because I want to go back to AI for a second. I
Yeah.
also, before I forget, I want to point out something I think is very important. Any of this work we do
Mhm.
is truly bipartisan.
Oh,
I loved how
for
you were explaining
sure.
collaboration is something I strive every day in New York, where I live, New York City, New York
Yeah.
State, to achieve. I haven't achieved it here yet. I will never give up trying to achieve
No.
it. So I'm very happy when I hear that you're achieving it, right?
Yeah.
Because that is the only way, Jan, as you know, we're
It
going to make
is.
any of this work. We talk
It
about
is.
collaboration, we talk about
Yeah.
coming together. Do we truly do it? Because
Well, because it can't be about one or two it just
can't.
can't be.
And not
It
and
can't be
what you do,
logically.
yeah, I don't
Just
do. And
logically, put the ego out of it.
yes,
Logically, it can't be one or two organizations. There's too much to
there's
do.
no way. And
Okay, there's too much to do. And so
yeah,
that's the collaborative part is people have to be willing to stand side by side, to give a leg up. I was on a call before I was with you with someone who's new in town. They work for an organization called the Epic Project, and it's really about reducing demand. And he was talking about how, he's like, yeah, getting adult men. I said, you got to start with boys.
yeah.
I said, there's grant funding in Orange County with your program. You can actually get funded. And he's like, and I go, yeah. And so I sent him the screenshots because it's like, I want people to win. I need people to win. You and I are two people in our circles doing what we can when we can. And if I can offer a grant to somebody else or chime in with somebody else and be like, no, you need to talk to them. They do that. That's not what I do. I don't do that. They do that. Go talk to them, support them, right? Do that with them. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only person out here doing
I was going to
that.
say, that's why you're a warrior, because most don't do that. And that's exactly what we need to do is exactly that. All right, we got to move on. We got to move on from that because
when I ask people, who's your target audience? Who are you trying to talk to? And they tell me everybody. I'm like, I can't work with you because again, in the only difference between what you do and a corporation is a tax code.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do financials. We have to file taxes. We have to, right? We're public companies. You have to say where your money comes from.
Yes.
Right? We're not private. Technically, we're public because we're 501c3s. So, it behooves everybody. It's like, just find your lane and get really good at it. Get really good at it. Remember when McDonald's tried to do tacos? Didn't go well.
That's for Taco Bell.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, or Del Taco or whomever.
No, it's true. But
yeah.
but even saying that, Jan, and it's certainly it lends itself. I agree. There's so much that intersects here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even domestic violence is intersecting with human trafficking.
Absolutely.
And digital safety is going into, teen safety, dating violence. So it is overwhelming, but I like the idea of, I come across things sometimes and I'm like, that doesn't really go with the warriors, but I want to put it out there for information and things like that. But it's not really, so sometimes I hold back on stuff because I try to stay more, with what we do and empowerment and some media stuff.
But supporting other people in your space, because we know that women that have experienced domestic violence are a great target for trafficking.
Absolutely.
We know that. It's been proven. We know that children that have been assaulted physically,
yes,
or emotionally as children, they're great foster kids. All right. So if we don't build that bridge and connect it for people, other people won't start doing that conversation. And that's, we're sitting with the homeless coalition yesterday. We were talking, and I kind of did this because the kids were behind me. I'm like, they're our most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And they've got to understand that they're worthy, that they matter, that there's a way out. It's never their fault. And there's an action they can take at any time. Find a trusted adult and have a conversation.
I was just going to say, and we as adults, really need to mentor and be there for them and
Yes.
listen to them, because that's what they tell me.
Mhm.
And that's an easy thing. You
It-
know what I'm saying?
Listening is easy.
And exactly. So, yeah, we're preaching a lot of that in the new year, even though we're only a couple of days in. I mean, a lot of take actions that are, again, like the location,
Well,
that's an
even
like easy
it's
things
so
people can do.
easy. And as challenging it is, my daughter used to get mad at me because I would fall asleep on the couch. I'm like, you have no idea why. It's not that I don't want to be with you and you're not boring. Mom's tired.
Tired.
Yeah, we can sit at a dinner table and listen. And it's not the how was your day? It's what did you learn? What was your
Yes.
biggest challenge? What are you most proud of? What sparked your interest and what are you curious now about today? What,
Right.
headlines did you hear today that we can talk about at the dinner table? And I think just taking that 30 to 45 minutes as a family
I
every
agree.
night, sitting down and just talking creates that connection. My friend, well, our friend, Austin Barrier, right? He works for HSI out in Phoenix. He's like, make our kids hard targets. So when you make how you make a kid a hard target, you actually create an environment at home that makes them want to stay.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where, with the and I'm gonna slide right over into AI chatbots. So I think it was either Fair Play, no, Common Sense Media did a really great piece of research, and they discovered two things. One, 72% of our kids are interacting with an AI chatbot as a friend.
Yeah, it was 7 out of 10 kids, right? That's about
Mhm.
seven, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's probably higher. I always like to say, but that's what we
Well,
know
of the
about
kids, of the kids surveyed,
in
right?
that survey, right?
Of
Right.
the kids surveyed, that's indicative, and it's like 1,200 kids, so it's not like some 5 kids. It's a very large number of
Yeah.
young people. And I think that's and it's pointing to, I'm going to go back to it, the isolation that our
Yes.
children experienced during COVID. And then, I think one of the best things, because we've done it, and I know New York's done it, is take the phones out of the schools.
Yes.
It's now forcing our children to talk to one another. And they're awkward. It's awkward. They don't know how to talk to one another. And so there's that, how do we teach our kids, whether it's at home, in a foster home, in an environment, to have a conversation, to have discourse, it's okay if you don't agree with me. I promise it's okay.
Yeah.
But are you willing to listen to what I have to say? Is it too important for you to be right about what you think? If people are in that space, we have no opportunity to dialogue and discourse and actually argue about something. If I'm not willing to listen to you, if you're not willing to actually listen to me, because mostly people just want to be right. But if you and I can agree of the colors on this, right? But I say, no, it's only black. And you're like, no, it's a peacock with gold and whatever. And I'm like, no, it's black. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to kill you. Unless one of us is willing to look the other side and go, oh, I now see what you see. I now see what you see. I still might not agree with it, but I can now get your point of view. It's a whole different conversation. And teaching our children that is okay. Teaching parents it's okay to have those kind of conversations with your kids where they may not agree. You got to listen and see their point of view and teach them it's okay to not agree.
Right.
AI blurs that line.
Mm.
Promise you, bringing it back. AI blurs that line. It always agrees with you. You're always right. And when you leave, God bless you. And when you leave, it's like, oh, is there anything else I can do for you? What else do you need? Would you like me to do this?
Well, and then it turns on you, perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
and therein lies a lot of danger. And we have a lot of cases. And
Mm-hmm.
I think listen, AI. Another thing I could talk about for hours on end. I don't like, Jan, this is me saying this, hearing we're going to have, K through 12 AI in all the schools. And I'll tell you why I don't like it. Because I do my own focus groups. Every teacher, parent, and child I've asked, I said, well, hey, what did you hear about this? What's going on? Nobody seems to know anything about what that actually entails.
They don't.
So we've learned from history about social media and the
Mm-hmm.
harms, luckily, right? Since about basically 96 when things started. We got the iPhone around 2008. So now we have information, right? We have things. We have
We do.
whistleblowers. We have the proven harms about all this.
Mhm.
And so now we're starting this whole new, I feel like all of that's wiped out. Now we're starting on this whole new playing field of AI, and still we're not protecting our children. What have you heard about that program? Because I wouldn't mind, Jan, if it truly, because we know there's AI for good. We know about
Absolutely. Absolutely.
healthcare, and I wish it was some sort of AI, and I know it can be done or is done
Mhm.
somewhere, because there are a lot of ethical tech people.
Yes,
There
there
are out there a lot of good people. I want to always point that out. Where we had a true tutor that made the child, helped them think, like
Mhm.
empowered them. That would be good. That would be helpful.
Yes.
But this unknown, what are you hearing about all this?
Yeah. Well, that help them think. That's the
Yes.
piece
And
that's
analyze,
missing.
critically
Yes.
analyze
Yes.
also.
Yes.
Think,
Well,
think,
there's
think.
there's there's two things that I find fascinating about this, and I do. There are, and my team knows this. I say this often. I feel like Sarah Connor in the Terminator. I do. I do. It's like this is coming. It's coming fast. All you can see, and global you, not you personally, right, or you personally listening, global you. All they can see is money and profit. And if you look at what's happening to the environment, why the environmentalists aren't like arguing about this is blowing my mind.
Me too. I was just thinking about that.
It's the amount of water and energy these AI data centers take
Yes.
up it's unfathomable. Unfathomable.
I've actually started talking about that a lot because I'm trying to get anybody to wake up about any of this.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's why your bill is so high. Like, that's why it
Yes.
tripled in New Jersey last year.
Yes. Yes.
Anything to connect it.
Yes.
But
And so that's the environmentally it's bad
yes.
for us environmentally. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing, blurred lines. All right. And I'm an innovator. I'm all about tech. I like technology. I'm not a no tech kind of girl. However, back to you, tech for good, tech for tech for good.
Empowerment. Tech for empowerment.
Yeah, is we're going a little too fast without doing the thinking about the unintended consequences. And that's what happened with the Communication Decency Act in 1996. Right? They didn't do the thinking ahead to say, let's come back and review this, just like they do the Frederick Douglass, right, Act. They review it every 5 years. Is this still applicable? Is this still what we want to do? Is prevention still important? Yes. Is prosecution still important? Yes. Or do survivors still need help? Yes. Right? But we come back every 5 years to make sure that we're in line. Why we didn't do that with CDA 230, I don't understand, but we didn't. And we've seen the consequences of it. Thousands of children harmed. Kids don't run away. They run to something because someone's promising them something. And we actually have a shot to put some guardrails up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I met someone, and that's the piece of looking at having someone go, am I meeting someone really online, or are they AI? And the lines are starting to get blurred in that space. And you're seeing it with commercials, you're seeing it with videos, AI generated video. And
we're seeing it all over, Jan.
Mhm.
I mean, every meeting I'm going on, it's like, do you want a Zoom companion or whatever they're called?
Yeah.
Do you want Carolyn, the Zoom note taker, to take? Everything I'm doing is even Facebook. I think there's an AI something that pops up and says, do you want me to finish the post for you or something like that? It's and if we're adults dealing with this, I mean, our kids, it's confusing for them. I want to ask you, okay, so why do you think, here's the good news, that there is this Sunset 230 bill that's been announced, right? So that's something, because I've always maintained, like, really, unless, like behind the scenes, I would say, unless we do something with this Section 230, like we can't really get anywhere, because we've given, well, not you and me, of course, but we've given all these big tech platforms just free reign, and they're making, again, profit over people. So why should they listen? So at least I think now, if we can push on this one and work on this one, maybe. But my concern is, what I actually think, Jan, that all of these big tech CEOs, they don't really care about any of that. I think they care about AI. We got AI in our pocket now, and it's endless.
Yeah.
endless things we can do with that. But that brings us back to, the real mom working two jobs, a single
Yes.
mom or single
Yeah.
dad, and
Yeah.
the kids in
Yeah.
the classroom, and that teacher who's dealing with 35 kids here in New York City in a classroom. And is just trying to get through the day, get through, like, that's where our focus needs to always be, the
Absolutely.
community
And
work,
and
which is why
and
what you do is so important in your
and we're
community.
re- and we're removing the human interaction. And we've been removing human interaction for several decades. Okay. And I think it's why I think it's intentional, because
Yeah.
if I desensitize a human enough that that's not a person, it's a commodity, you're no different than this water bottle. Okay. If you're just a commodity, I can do with you whatever I please because
What
you're
is the
just a
purpose of
commodity.
that? What I don't understand, Janet. What's the purpose of, like
That's
I
a
just,
that's a great question, Lynn.
I mean,
And
I
we
know I ask
again
these
we
questions
could
and
talk
really have no
days.
answers,
We
but
could
I don't
but I
understand.
think it's good for your listeners to think about that. I think it's
Yes.
really good for the people that are going to watch this video to be like, well, let me do the thinking.
Yes, that's
Why
what we
why
want.
do you want me as a commodity? Because I'm all done being a bargaining chip, by the way. I am all done being a bargaining chip. I'm a human being. I matter. I have thoughts. I have feelings. I have all those things. And I'm not a thing. I'm a human.
Yes.
Um, and I think if enough people start to stop and do that thinking
Yes.
for themselves, you've just got to pause and be like, hang on. Okay, if I'm a commodity, if I look back at who started the education system and what that person said was, I don't want thinkers, I want doers. I want workers. Well, we're no longer in the industrial age. Okay, so that really doesn't apply for our educational system anymore. And Elon Musk has said it several times. How do we prepare our kids for the future? Well, what we're teaching them now, what we're doing now, isn't doing that. It's not doing that. So
That's
can
what
AI
I'm worried
help with
about.
that? Can AI help with that? I don't know. And if AI really is going to do what they're saying, is I don't get algebra and I can sit and work with an AI tool to help me work through algebra, okay. But it's only going to acknowledge when I do well, and when I do bad, it's not going to have me experience the real consequences. And I think that's part of it, is if a human being can experience consequences of doing something or not doing something, you're not going to alter your behavior.
Yeah.
Goes for adults. Goes for
Oh,
adults.
need a whole separate week on AI alone. But
I know.
no,
So,
but you know what,
I
Jan?
think it's
I
I
want to
think
give our
it's,
warriors hope because
yes, absolutely.
listen, we're talking about it. We've got a lot of parents stepping up, like I see in the last 18 months, 2 years, coming to the forefront. We have a lot of people, Democrats, Republicans, talking about it, right? Because
Hmm.
there's always work in the community and then there's always
Always.
legislation. So I
Always.
say there's a lot of hope, a lot of room for a lot of great things in 2026. Um, and we just have to every single day keep chipping away at this. It
Yep.
sounds very simple. Yes, raising the awareness, but also
But
really
it's,
having real take actions too.
yes,
Always real homework, real take action.
it's one conversation at a time. If this conversation evokes another conversation, you and I have done our job.
So let me ask you something. Because you work with so many kids and parents, I spoke to a mother yesterday. That interview will go up today from Parents Rise,
Mm,
fairly new group that has come together, although
yes.
they've been
Yep.
working, but fairly new. They've formulated, Parents Rise. And this mom did everything correctly in her mind with the phone, with the open and honest communication, with everything. And her daughter was just cyberbullied to death, actually. So, what I want to say to you, and again, that interview, I'm putting that up later, right when we're done here. When kids are online, when they're recruited online, kids don't even know what that means. Somebody tells a girl she's pretty, come meet me down the street.
Mhm.
I'm just using this as an example. Let's
Yeah.
talk. Or um, if kids start acting weird, what do you think parents or even teachers should be looking for right away in a child who might have seemed just an okay child, or
Mhm.
happy go lucky or something? Give us some signs, some tips, so they can be on the lookout, our warriors.
Sure. So I want to actually address what you said first, and then we'll go to tips. So parents can do everything, and it still happens. I'm not, there's no parent blaming. I want to make sure people are hearing that there's no parent blaming. And the moment you hand your child a device and we succumb to, but all my friends are doing it and I'll be left out. I don't want my kid left out. So I'm going to do what she's asking or what he's asking.
Yes.
Okay. But I don't understand it. My daughter was an avid reader. I'm assuming she still is. She was an avid reader. I read every single book she read. Every book.
That's a good mom. Yeah.
Including books that I was reading. I read every book. I listened to all the music she listened to. I watched the TV shows she wanted to, because I wanted to understand what was enticing to her, what was intriguing to her. It gave us commonality to have conversations, okay? Leaving our children in their rooms alone with literally with their own device, we can't do that anymore. We've got to do more family stuff, because I assert that we didn't notice that until later. And right? Does that make, like, we didn't notice it until later.
Yeah.
And then we're like, ugh, why didn't I see that? And then I beat myself up, and then I think it's my fault when it's not my fault. This stuff has been intentional grooming
No,
our
it's
children
it's
and
nobody's
our
fault.
parents.
No,
It's technology's fault and our parents,
Yes.
right? So spending more time with your family and spending more time with your kids is everything.
Yeah, I agree. But
Get off the phones, get off the TV, get off the computers, go for a walk, go for a bike ride, play a board game. And it doesn't have to be all night long, but if you're on the phone, we're all in the living room together. Right. If you're playing video games, we're all in the living room together. No more consoles in a bedroom. I'm sorry.
That's another easy tip.
I'm old fashioning. No more consoles.
That's
more
not consoles.
It's like, no, we're all doing homework around the kitchen table. If you don't have a kitchen table, we're doing homework on the kitchen counter, right? We're doing homework while you're out here and I can interact with you. And you can ask me questions, okay? So, I think that's the part of it, but it's and you won't notice the difference if you don't know your kid.
Right.
And how you get to know your kid really is you spend time with them.
Yes.
You can tell. I can tell when people are off, and they tell me they're fine, and I just sit there and I look at them.
Yeah. And I like Jan, as you pointed out, get into their world.
Yes.
And you have to, even if you're dead tired or what, you've got to find the time. And this is really life and death. And
it really
it's
is.
not them and us. This is what I try to say. Like, it's not them and
No.
us. We have to have really this partnership,
We've
because
gotta have
I'm
their
going to keep
back.
saying it, Jan, you know this, kids are dying.
They are. We've got to have their back. And that's the other thing too. A child's worst fear is disappointing their child.
Yes.
Disappointing their parent. Their worst fear is disappointing their parent. And that's what they are afraid, because I'm somewhere along the way, mom and dad said something about don't do this online, right? Whatever it was. But they went and did it because these people kept poking, because here's the other thing. The other piece that came out of that research was our kids are getting an average of 267 DMs or inappropriate pictures from people they don't know every single day.
Wow. I heard 200, but
267
wow.
Every single day. I am a 13-year-old. I'm not designed to take in that much data on top of schoolwork, I'm just not designed for that. And yet it keeps coming at me. At some point in time, I'm going to fold. I had a friend of mine who's one of his really good friends was a professional football player, and he went to go watch him play the football game, and they went out to the the bars, whatever, afterwards. And he said we were sitting there at and he goes, and all these women just kept coming up propositioning us. And he goes, I looked at my friend and said, I can only say no so many times. I only got so much willpower. We gotta go. Like, we gotta leave the bar. These were adult men. So imagine that you're 14 and you get this every single day. I can't even imagine.
I can't even
so
imagine.
many times.
Jan, what do you think? Let's get down to business about some of the take actions, some of the resources we want our warriors to know about. What do you think right now? let's start with, what do you think schools or parents or policymakers, right? What do you think no longer works? What they should be doing? Again, all these questions are kind of big, but because I really think this is a whole, we have to look at trafficking. I'm tired of the same old definition of it. I know it's true, like, force for coercion.
Yeah.
Like, I know that,
Yeah.
like, that it's what it is. We have to start from the ground up, I believe, and let 2026 be the year. Like, we really think out of this box.
Yeah.
Let's start it's new because the internet is new. The predators, they're always 10 steps ahead. Kids having all these devices. So all that old stuff doesn't work. But what do you think has failed? But what should we be looking at right now?
So, there's, I think the Senate's bringing in a whole package of child safety bills, which I'm actually really happy about, and 4 of them have to do with AI. Josh Hawley is, an extraordinary pioneer inside this space, and he's definitely standing for, protecting our kids. Marsha Blackburn, of course. But I think there's a piece of legislation that continues to be overlooked, and it's very frustrating because we've worked really hard on it, is the Trafficking Survivors Reauthorization Act, right, TVPRA. And this brings funding to very much needed environments, which is education, prosecution, and protection for survivors. And, I'm so happy that we passed the Trafficking Survivors, the TSRA, the Trafficking Survivors Relief Act, right? So they can get expungement at that level, at the federal level. And this is like the next piece. And I think that's, we've talked to our legislators, and it's being stalled, and I can't tell you why. I can guess, and it doesn't matter. But, to have every single person listening to this pick up the phone and call your representative and say, look, I'm asking you to get this bill onto the floor because this is going to provide much needed resources to protect our kids. Because if you think about it, Lynn, it costs to find, recover, rehab, restore, and reintegrate one child is the cost of $7 million. And that doesn't include the lifelong trauma that they're going to be managing for the rest of their life, which includes health, mental, all of that, right? Where in reality, for us to educate a kid for over 3 hours, it's less than $100. So 3 hours of training for less than $100 saves a lifetime of trauma.
It's priceless. It's priceless.
And why we continue to step over that, not exciting. I get it. But it's the smart thing to do. It's the logical thing to do. And so getting HR 1144, the Frederick Douglass Act, onto the House floor, passed, over to the Senate, passed, and to the president's desk this year is imperative. Last year was the 25th anniversary, and we missed it. We missed it because there were other things happening. Fine, not a problem. But I think the piece that citizens need to understand is, 1, they work for us. And 2, your voice matters.
Yes.
I can't tell you how you and I have walked the halls together. They're so happy that we came to talk to them. They're like,
and we're nice to them.
I know. They're like, thank you for
they're
bringing
like in
us
shock. They're like
information.
in shock when you're like just a person, nice to them.
Yeah, but if they don't hear from their citizenry,
Right.
they're going to listen to the lobbyists that live there and get paid $1,000 an hour. But they actually work for us, not the lobbyists. So it's inviting have 2026 be the year where you get that we're the people part of the we the people of the Constitution. We're the people. You're a United States citizen. You actually have an obligation to participate in government. And that's one way you can do it is simple. Pick up the phone. Hi, my name's Jan. I live in this zip code. I'm calling and asking my representative to support HR 1144. Yeah. And why? Because I'm a mom and I'm concerned and I want to make sure my kids are protected. And I understand this provides funding for prevention education. Thanks. Again, my name's Jan. I live in this zip code, whatever. That's less than 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And, and if we had 100,000 people do that, stuff would move.
Well, also, I heard recently, just if they get a message 5 to 7 of the same subject matter, they will start looking at something. That's basically nothing. It used to be more, right? Mm-hmm. Now I'm hearing it's 5 to 7. So everybody has a minute. where house.gov, senate.gov, and I'll put everything in the body of this video
Yes.
where
Yeah.
people can at their leisure.
Yeah.
And it makes you also feel good that
You
you can
did
just do this
something.
from home. You don't have to march the halls like
No.
Jan and I do in our high heels. We will, we, we will, we will.
You're in high heels. I wear tennis shoes.
I don't know. I'm just in the high heels. I don't, on those tough, hard floors, we are willing to do that for everybody because the bottom
Absolutely.
line is really what's trickling down
Mhm.
to the families, to the kids,
Yeah.
to everybody with all of this. Let's finish up. Jan, I want to talk about, can we go over some of those stats from what you sent me yesterday?
Sure.
How
Sure.
kids were
Sure.
reacting? Because I think it's very important that people actually know you have some facts in front of you, like what the kids are talking about. So you did this recent training,
Yeah.
okay? And I don't know if you want to say where it's
So
from or
sure,
not, or
yeah.
just go over like
I'll
the clip.
just So let me give context, right? So we go into a school and we do generally 3 1-hour sessions with grades. So this was a Catholic school. We trained from 4th grade to all the way up to 8th grade. So we had 3 days with all these groups of kids. And we always have pre and post tests on day 1 and day 2 because we want to know what they're learning. And day 3, these kids make extraordinary posters because we want their voice to be heard. We want their voice matters. So we want them to express what they learned. Okay. And then anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks after our initial training, we do a follow-up survey because what we do matters, and I need to make sure it alters behavior because our whole conversation with kids is that here's the action to take. Here's what's happening. Here's the action to take. Here's what's happening. Here's the action to take. And so this most recent survey is from 141 kids from that particular school. And we asked them, like, what have you stopped doing because of this conversation? We asked them, what changes have you made? We asked them, what have you done to help a friend or a family member, right, in what you've learned? So I'll just give you a couple of the highlights. 60% stopped accepting all new friend requests on social media without checking to see if they knew the person.
Love that. I love
It's a
that.
big deal.
It's a very big deal
It's
and
a
an
big
easy
deal.
step for them to learn about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. To me, like one of these, it might be a smaller number, but 27% of them stopped bullying others.
Jan, if it was 1%, I'd be happy.
Yeah,
No, so I think anything
27%
that's good. That's over
stopped
25. Yeah.
bullying someone.
It's over.
When we asked them what actions have they taken since the training, for me, 50% of them turned off their location setting and turned on their privacy setting. Tough. And, and a lot of these kids, I think, have done some of this, but they didn't do all of it. So, they're kids. They're answering the best they know how. And then I think that the one I'm most proud of is, what have they done to help a friend or family member? 57% said they walked away from a potentially dangerous situation to cool off.
Yeah, but you're such an excellent teacher about that because you've cooled me off, Jan.
Here's the thing, Lynn.
And so
I
this is the most important thing.
I wasn't, no, this is the deal. I wasn't in one of those classrooms. I trained the teachers. My team did that. That's my team.
Okay, but
training our curriculum.
But excellent that you've snowballed it. You see what I mean?
Yes.
That's always my belief. If we can keep snowballing, and we really will get somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And you want to know the other piece too? This is the highest percentage I've ever seen. 52% reported something suspicious.
That reminds me, Jan, if somebody right now, a child, a parent, a grandparent, caregiver, anything suspicious they think is suspicious, obviously if it's some sort of like nude image or dialogue, that's pretty easy to say, well, that's dangerous. But if they suspect something, because I always get the pushback, what if I'm wrong? Will I get in trouble? Or what do you want people? What is that clear? There are a few clear steps to reporting. What would you suggest?
Yeah. Well, the very first thing is report it on the app, right? If you're whatever app you're on, report it on the app immediately. I always also have people report it to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children if you're under 18, right? Under 18 because you're still a child. Over 18, you want to report it to the FBI or Homeland Security cyber tip line for sure. And talk to a trusted adult. Let them know what's happening, like immediately. We also have our people call especially if there's images that are printed that, it's call your local law enforcement, because if a child's either received an image or sent an image, you've got to report that to law enforcement because because they're not the only people that this is happening to. This is happening to people all around, and they need to know that. Right. So there's that piece of acknowledging, one, that it's not your fault, but, taking that action. And because there's some brand new pieces of legislation, sometimes parents have to educate the law enforcement officer, because we have a new grooming law in the state of Florida. And it's actually a felony for an adult to groom a child. It's a felony. So, it hasn't trickled down to all of our law enforcement officers yet. So our parents are having to go, well, no, there's a brand new statute that just.
I love that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's inside that. It's if we have a educated citizenry, educated, informed,
yeah,
willing to do the critical thinking, we got a shot at stopping this. And it's going to take, someone's going to have to get their brave on. You're going to have to be courageous about this. And you're not alone. There's all kinds of resources. Every single organization we've mentioned, your organization has phenomenal resources. We have great resources. We have a parent toolkit that helps parents start this conversation. We have videos online. There's so much knowledge that really all you have to do is sit down with your, kids and type in what's happening in human trafficking. And there's a whole plethora of knowledge, but you've got to be willing to do that. And then it starts a conversation. We really believe one conversation at a time we can save a life.
I think we should finish on that note. One conversation, talking to each other, talking with the kids open and honestly, because like I like to say, Jan, they're seeing and hearing everything anyway. When parents say, I don't want to open the can of worms about pornography, which we didn't even touch upon today. So you have to come back for that, Jan. I know you're a busy warrior, but there's so much we have to keep talking about for our public out there. You're doing such excellent work with your team. Pavingthewayfoundation.org is the website. Again, Jan is also on LinkedIn, putting a lot of great stuff on there. We will list everything in the body of the video with the toolkit, pieces of legislation, how everybody can be a part. Because again, you feel so good. You can do it from your own home, just participating in something like this. So let's start the new year on this positive note of everybody coming, as you pointed out. We must, it's critical and crucial, speak up, speak out. We, the people, right? Yes. I want to say to you, Jan, that with leaders like you, and there are a lot of good people, but there are a few like you, okay? You refuse to look away. You refuse to accept harm is inevitable. You remind us that even all of this, trafficking, exploitation, it's evolving very fast, but so does our ability to evolve. And that's what we have to do. Yes. And we have to fight back, and we have to be courageous. Yes. Courage over comfort. And that's what I know you do all the time. And Jan, your work really proves that protecting kids is really, it's not about panic. It's about vigilance, presence, persistence, being there, showing up, asking the hard questions, and refusing to surrender ground, I guess I'm going to say, to those who profit from harm. We're not doing that because you are a warrior. You stand in truth. And you stay in the fight, and you give others the strength to do the same. You empower me all the time. And because of people like you, there is real hope that children can and will be safer today, tomorrow, going forward. And Jan, just know we at Lynn's Warriors, we stand with you. We support you. We want everybody, again, we'll have your support button, your donate button. We need your classes, your way of thinking, your way of doing. We want it to infiltrate in every school, every place of worship, every community center, homes even. You can get together with a couple of parents. We do this in New York.
I'm actually doing that this month. Doing that this month. Yeah, somebody invited me. Yeah.
Okay, good. I like that because I've done some of them. I want to increase that this year as well. Go into the home with 4 groups of parents, 6 groups. Just get it. And then again, I like that word snowball. I don't know of another word, Jan. If they have that information and that knowledge, and they're feeling good and empowered and engaged, they're going to spread it then with their families and communities.
It's like the old L'Oreal commercials. You remember that? And then they tell 2 friends, and then they tell 2 friends. That's how we make the difference. Sharing is caring.
I thought you were going to say because you're worth it. Was that?
Well, that too, because you're worth it. But remember that commercial was like, and they like multiplied the pictures. That's what this conversation is like. One conversation. Well,
you are Jan Edwards. truly a warrior. And thank you for the biggest thing. You never back down. And I am so honored to know you, support you, and we will
Thank you.
continue. We're never giving in and giving up. Promise
No
me you will
brainer.
come back again soon because
Of
there's so much
course.
to talk
Yes.
about.
Yes, I will. I promise. Pinky
Thanks,
swear
Jan.
promise.
Thank
Bye.
you. I'll hold you to it. Thanks, Jan.